Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh, Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting every episode by saying thank you. I feel so blessed with this podcast, the impact it's having. I started it as a passion project, and it just has a life of its own. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's our way of giving back. We love doing it. I now record 2 episodes a week, and it's just you guys have helped make it a global top 2% podcast. It's definitely having an impact. Our focus is really just guiding that one person. So whoever needs to listen to this episode, we ask and encourage them to be guided to it. Hopefully it's more than one, but as long as it's one, right? But yeah, thank you if you're a regular listener. Thank you for your support. We love you very much. If you're new, welcome. Let us know if you have any feedback, any suggestions. Feedback's always a blessing. I am an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, as well as spiritual coach and mentor. I love what I get to do. I get to guide people on their journey. I get to hold your space while you go through your shifts. You understand why you're here. Just before this, I finished week 12 with somebody I'm mentoring, and it's beautiful to see how he shifted his light, how his energy is different. Just lifts my soul. So if my voice resonates, reach out. You can work with me and Stacey, whatever feels right. Start with booking a free discovery call. And just to mention early, because I always forget and I do it near the end, is I'm running my first solo retreat in March of this year. It's in Glastonbury in the UK. Glastonbury is such a beautiful healing location. It's on ley lines. It's has such a beautiful divine feminine energy. So if you're in the UK, or even if you're not and you're willing to travel in, I'll include a link in the show notes. It's going to be over 3.5 days around spring equinox, which for me is the new year. I'm excited. It's a soul spa. It's a healing space for your soul. So much other stuff we have going on. We have the full moon webinar this Sunday. I'll include the show notes, a link in the show notes. It's our way of giving back, and I'm loving this space. I'll talk about kind of the current energy in a few moments. But before we go there, I'd love to introduce my amazing, beautiful co-host, introducing the amazing, the stunning, the healer extraordinaire, and now published author, Stacey Brown. Stacey, I've got to do it. It won't be the same without it.
Yeah.
Please introduce yourself.
It's so good to be here, friends. Thank you for being with us again. And thank you for making this podcast such a huge success. We really love what we do, and we love the fact that we get to pour into you every single week through this podcast. My name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from around the world. I am also a spiritual coach and mentor, an Akashic record reader, and a published author. My book, Journey to Soul Center, Discovering the Gift of Surrender, is available on Amazon and Audible. Again, another passion project and something I'm really proud of accomplishing. If you haven't checked it out yet, I encourage you to check it out. It could be a pivotal point in helping you on your own journey of healing. I'm excited to get into this topic today, Nims. How you doing?
I am good. Yeah, I'm excited to get into it too. I ran a beautiful meditation circle yesterday, and I'm honestly feeling the energy of that still. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like I'm very much channeling. Energetically, we're recording this on Wednesday. I'll publish it on the Monday. But Neptune moving into Aries, and for me, it's just it's the beginning of a new phase. I still feel like we're in the age of completion, but I feel like, with the shifts that's happening with the full moon on Sunday, where we have the full moon webinar, with the kind of Chinese New Year that's coming, and spring equinox, I feel like there's new energies and new vibrations coming through. Do I feel it's going to be less than intense? Probably not. Am I looking forward to the February the 1st Akashic message, whatever comes through, the full moon on Sunday? Yeah, all of it. So, which is why this topic feels appropriate. Today, we're going to be talking about the quiet cost of being the strong one. And the reason we picked this topic is I feel like it's going to resonate a lot with our listeners. It's like when we're on this healing journey, There's I hear a lot from people in terms of needing to be the strong one, always the one that's always there for everybody else, but doesn't really always allow other people to be there for you. And I know for me personally, it's a work in progress, right? I'm very conscious that I love going out my way for people. I love what I get to do. But am I really there to allow others to support me? I'd say it's work in progress. I'm definitely better. Like my connection with Stacey, we support each other, and that's it's a beautiful co-creation, right? But we're diving deep in today with what does it really mean to our energy, our psyche, and we've always been the steady, the grounded, capable one. What does that really mean? And what does it cost us in the long run? It's actually quite a deep topic for me because it is part of the journey that I've been over the past whatever period. Recognizing that continuing to be the one that is there for everybody and being strong and holding space and whatever that looks like. It is beautiful in the moment, but eventually it catches up. And so yeah, this one's one very close to my heart. I'm looking forward to diving in deeper. But before we go there, Stace, I'd love for you to talk a bit about what does it mean to you, the cost of being the strong one. How does it translate into your world?
It's so interesting because this topic is making me think about how I live my life and what I do to get support for myself. And, in this career path that we've chosen, we're helping people every day and we're guiding them on their healing journey. And we're pouring into other people to help them become the best version of themselves. And I think sometimes we can take that role on in all the ways and subconsciously not allow people to be there for us in the same way that we're there for others. And I don't think it's something that we mean to do. I wake up in the morning and I think about my clients and my friends, and I try really hard to be connected. Like for those who are listening that have worked with me, or for those who are in my life, I check in on a daily basis and try to make sure that my friends and my clients know how much I care and that I'm there for them and I'm supporting them. And I think sometimes I forget that I need the same kind of support. It's not something that I consciously think about, but I think it kind of explains the bond that you and I have, because we are there for everyone else and trying to do the work at the same time. And we lean into each other because of that. And I think it speaks to the power of relationships when you can let your guard down from being the strong one and allow other people to be there for you. And I think it's something really important. It's something that I know I need to think more about. I need to recognize that I have needs as well. And I have things that I need to work through as well. And in order to be strong, I've got to face those things. So I don't know, this topic is hitting close to home. It's making me think about the way I operate on a day-to-day basis. It makes me think about the people who are there for me and allow me to process things when I don't feel so strong. But I think there's a tremendous amount of pressure we put on ourselves when we are in the business of helping others in whatever way. I mean, friends, you might not be a spiritual mentor and coach. You might be a nurse, or you might have some other service-oriented career path that you've chosen, or even the life with your family. right? Where everybody in your family needs you and needs you to be strong, and you're trying to figure out where you fit. I think this is a topic that is going to hit close to home for a lot of people, Nims.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I guess at this moment, maybe it's a good time to ask, right? You'll listen to this. How much do you feel like you're there for everybody else, but nobody's there for you? And how much do you allow other people to be there for you? If you were honest with yourself, do you allow people to be there for you? You know, like I said, this one, and it's like I didn't, we picked the topic today, and it's just, I felt like it was a good one, but actually, I didn't really feel, how close to home it's going to be, because Stacey's right. The work that we get to do, and I love doing it, by the way. So don't please myself. Anyone that I've guided and I've held, anyone that listens to this podcast, everyone I mentored, I love you guys, and I love what I get to do, but it also can be sometimes a lonely existence. I feel like we hold a lot of space for a lot of people, and again, it's a choice I've made, so it's not like I regret anything, but can be intense. Like I said, I hosted a meditation circle in my home yesterday. There was about 20 people here. I loved it. It's just a beautiful energy. There's so much love in the space. But afterwards, I was really tired, and I realized it's the energy and the vibration of holding that much space, and then there's much more going on than there was in the room, and it's just and it's like when you, whatever profession you picked, and sure, if you're a healer or as Stacey was saying, a nurse or whatever you do, sometimes this creeps up on you. It's like we create a habit of being there for everybody else and being that martyr and being the hero, and it's just I mean, for me, I have a big extended family. I got 4 brothers, 4 sisters, 10 nephews, 3 nieces, and there's a lot of love around with me. And it's like growing up, I wanted my nephews and nieces to experience things I never did. So, and I love doing it. I have a beautiful connection with all of them. But even my nephews tell me now they're older, they're working. They're like, well, hold on, why did when we go out, don't you let us pay? And I was like, because for me, you're like my kids, right? And it's just like, but it's so true. We've got to let other people to be there for us. This life and the energy and the vibration we're moving into is all about balance. It's all about co-creation. We're finishing a phase which has all been about self. It's like we've been in like a cocoon and, year of the snake, whatever that means, shedding all the layers. But I feel like we're in a phase, we're moving into a phase where partnerships, collaborations, communities are really important. This is where we've got to be careful about always being there for everybody else. It eventually becomes frustrating, and you start to resent parts of it. This is why, if you listen to this, it's a message to really look in the mirror and ask yourself, well, hold on, do I allow other people to be there for me? And the other thing that we sometimes do is we put everybody else ahead of ourselves, and that's opposite of 100% of what we should be doing. So this is a message to you to put you first, because think about all the people you're holding space for. If you don't put you first and all of a sudden you get injured or you get an illness, or, how are you still going to hold space for all these people? So if you don't do it for you, do it for other people. But 100%, my recommendation would be to do it for you. Because when you shine your light unconditionally, when you put you first, when you allow other people to be there for you, your light becomes so much brighter. And how do you feel when somebody goes out of their way for you? You have to manifest that. And I guess the tougher question is, are you getting jaded by being there for other people? I remember in some ways, kind of manifesting a friend like Stacey in my life when I was like, you know what, I'd love a me for me. And I wouldn't say she's exactly like that, but, I wanted somebody who can support me in that sort of way. And it's just, And don't get me wrong, I have a lot of love in my life, but there's not a lot of people that understand who I am at the spiritual level. I have friends, and they again a lot of, but it's just but it's like, do I allow that? I had Sidra, and I feel like she still supports me in the realms. If you haven't heard me talk about Sidra, she's my mentor, my friend, who in many ways inspired this podcast. It's named after her, as her initials. But she left this realm in March 2020. Ironically, I think I met Stacey, and the first time we connected was in April 2020. And again, I'm not, don't want to replace anybody with anybody. It's just, I am working on opening my heart up through this phase to allow a stronger community around me. I am consciously building a soul family, a stronger soul family. I have some really amazing friends around me, but also a spiritually stronger soul family, whatever that looks like. I'm just open to it. Have some clients who support me now too in a different sort of way. It's just an interesting co-creation, an interesting journey I feel like we're in. Energetically, like I said, I feel like things are shifting. So Stace, do you feel like the energy shifting? You feel like, when I say to you that, we've been in this cocoon, we've been working on ourselves, but the energy and vibration now is calling us to create space in our world for maybe a different sort of soul family moving forward. Does that message resonate with you?
Yeah, very much so. It wasn't that long ago that my son went through a massive crisis, and I was at the peak of my career in the beauty industry. I had a lot of people relying on me and leaning into me for support. And when everything happened with my son, it all came to a screeching halt. I could not be there for the people in my life the way that I had been. And let me just tell you, when you've played a supportive role like that in a lot of people's lives, it is very detrimental when you're not able to be there for them in the way that you have. And it's been really interesting to go through this period of time of healing and introspection and kind of selfishly putting myself first to see the impact that's had on people, because I've recently returned to the beauty industry part-time, and I'm seeing a lot of clients from the past, and I wonder if it hasn't shaken their confidence in me because I couldn't be there for them for a period of time. I couldn't fulfill that role that I had fulfilled for so long. And it's been really powerful to experience it in a different way. I evolved and healed from the experience with my son. I went through some physical challenges after a botched surgery myself. And then I went through a divorce and sold my dream home in the country and moved. And I had all of these changes that required me to put myself first. And through that process, I started mentoring and coaching and helping people in a different way. And people were relying on me for support in an even bigger way than they were in the beauty industry. And I've found that I love helping people. I absolutely am passionate about serving and helping people. I have also come to recognize that I have to have support for myself on a consistent basis, that there is no glory or prize for being the strong one. If anything, it can be very isolating and very lonely when you don't feel like you're being supported as well. And so in the last few years, I've been fiercely dedicated to rebuilding my tribe. And it's a small group, it's a very small circle that I have. But I know that the people that are in that circle I could reach out to at any time and say, I need you, and they would be there for me. And I think that we all need that. We need to have that support. We need to have that consistency where we're not just serving other people, but where our needs are a priority as well. I think that's how we evolve and grow, right? Is when we are in a space where we're not just facing life by ourselves, but we're doing it with support. We're doing it with people that we can talk to about the different decisions that we're facing in our lives and process things in a new way. And so for me, after a very painful few years, I've come to accept that I can't be the strong one for everyone. And that's a hard lesson to learn when you're used to being the one who's always strong. But it's been something powerful for me to be vulnerable in saying there are times where I can't do it. And I think all of us need to take a closer look at what we're doing and how we're living our lives. You know, I think about when I was a young mom and I had a house full of little children, and my needs were very rarely a priority during that time. And I know that we have moms who are listening to this episode who are thinking, I can't remember the last time I did something for myself. I can't remember the last time that I didn't have to be the strong one. And so I really am hoping that this episode will strike a chord with our listeners and get you to take a closer look at how you're living your life and what support you have in place for you. And if you don't have that support, maybe it's time to start manifesting that into your life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Just food for thought there, right? And I'm sure there's people listening saying, well, it's easy for these guys to say that, right? Kind of allow other people to support me when I haven't got anyone in my world who does support me. It's kind of just makes me think about some of the people I work with, right? And it can be overwhelming, right? Stacey talked about, if you're a mom and you've got your kids, maybe a single parent or whatever, it can be a lot. But you've got to start somewhere, right? And as Stacey was saying, you've got to manifest this. Even if you can do something small, call a friend or allow somebody to be there for you just a little bit. What if that starts to begin a cycle of allowing more people to be there for you? Because this is a powerful time to be present. I don't feel like it's a time to manifest lots of major things, but small changes to put you at the center of your world. Because the cycle we're in right now, continuing to put pressure on ourselves, it's hard unless you do it with others. We never the spiritual journey was never meant to be done on our own. Actually, this is why mentorship is so important. I feel like it's even more important right now. And if it's not me or Stacey, find a mentor, manifest a mentor that it feels right for you. I feel like anyone that we support, it's a soul contract. So if you feel that connection with us at a heart level, then reach out. The other, for me personally, when I feel about my journey, I think about my journey and really kind of the pressure I put on myself. A lot of it is not even about me. I talked about Sidra. It's like when Sidra left this realm, I still feel the pressure of continuing her journey. I feel her support on the other realms, and I feel a lot of love from the other realms. But I still feel like I've got to do a lot of what I do because of her support. Then I think about my parents and how they feel about me. And it's just it's interesting in terms of the pressure we put on ourselves, right? And then if you have loved ones, if you have kids that rely on you, again, it's a responsibility. And of course, I'm not telling you not to take on that responsibility, but at the same time, my question is, are you allowing other people to be there for you? If somebody came into your world that wanted to be there, more there for you at a deeper level, it could be a friendship, could be a partnership, could be a collaboration. How open to that would you be? Sometimes our energy, our vibration closes that off. And this spiritual journey is really interesting because ultimately, when you've done a lot of work on yourself, you're spiritually mature, you carry more than you should because you feel that responsibility, right? You've been through so much, and therefore, you don't want to lean on other people, but you want to be there for you. So really having an honest conversation with yourself about how supportive you are and how much you let other people in feels like it's a really important thing to do. I know I've had many conversations with myself, and I've had lots of conversations with Stacey and others about the work that we do, and kind of how important we feel it is, but at the same time, holding space for a lot of people is empowering, but also we're human, so sometimes it's draining too, right? And I'm not saying I don't love what I do, because I really do. I feel very, very blessed with it. But it's important to not disconnect from your own needs. It's important to have that conversation with yourself at different times, to be honest about how you feel and what are you manifesting. Stacey was talking about she has a very close circle of friends that she knows that she can reach out to any time, and that's a powerful thing to have. My question to you, if you have something similar, is how often do you reach out to your people? Have you manifested people in your world that allows you to be you, that raises your vibration rather than forcing you to lower your vibration? If I look at my family as an example, there's a lot of love there. There's a lot of acceptance of what I do. Not a lot of understanding, which is okay. Same in the friend circle, and just it's an interesting phase when you're when the spiritual work you do. And again, I just want to say this carefully, but when you're doing a lot of spiritual, your energy, your vibration raises a lot, and sometimes you outgrow people, and that's not an ego thing. Sometimes you just do, and what you do when you do the spiritual work is you give an opportunity for others to do the same. Well, we can't force people to do the work. You can give them an example, you can give them a nudge, you can be that, but ultimately it's a choice. And honestly, the phase we're in right now, we can't carry people. So again, my question is to you, if you're listening, are you carrying people? And do you allow people to come into your world that push you, that expand you in a different sort of way, in a more loving way? Because again, we get safe in, kind of carrying people, right? We get safe in, kind of being around people that we know we can help. And it's a sign of strength to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. Because that's the other thing, is that when you're on the spiritual path, you feel like you want to do everything on your own. Sometimes it is a superpower calling on your guides. And that's the other thing, is asking your guides for help. We have so much help around us right now from the other realms. But are we asking for that help? To be fair, I know I am. I'm probably leaning on my guides more now than ever before. Just because we're in this transition, we're in this phase, and I'm asking them to hold my space, right? Whenever, but again, it's such a powerful thing to do, and I'd highly recommend you do that. And it's an interesting time. It really is an interesting time, but I feel like we're moving into a phase where we have to do something different. Einstein's definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing, expect a different set of results. So my question to you right now is, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to do differently to manifest different people in your world? What are you going to do differently to not always being the strong one? What are you going to do differently to allow other people to be there and support for you? Stacey, I love you putting you in the spot. So what are you going to do differently moving forward to allow other people to be there for you, to hold your space? I know you, and by the way, I applaud your vulnerability on this podcast because I know it's kind of sometimes frustrating for you. It's like, why do I always have to be vulnerable? But for me, I feel like it helps a lot of people. But in this moment, what are you going to do to allow the people to be there for you?
So I feel like I've already been taking an active role in doing just that, in allowing other people to be there for me. Um, I'm facing some personal challenges right now, and I'm leaning into my friends for support. Um, I've been leaning on you a lot. You know, I have an amazing therapist that has helped me tremendously. And I am just fiercely dedicated to doing everything I can to be open and vulnerable about what I'm facing right now in an effort to bring that support in and not feel like I'm dealing with it alone. I think it's a real sign of strength when you can ask for help. It really can be a challenging thing to say, I can't do this on my own. It can be really hard for some of us when we let our pride get in the way and we say, I'm doing this by myself, right? Like I have to do this by myself. But the power really lies in saying, I can't do this by myself and asking for help. And so in this season, I've just been open to saying that, to saying just that. This is a season where I know that I can't do this by myself. And I know that I need support. And I believe that in doing that, in saying we're vulnerable and in reaching out for help, I believe it makes us even better at our callings, at what we feel like we're meant to do. I mean, what kind of mentor would I be if I didn't have a mentor myself? What kind of healer would I be if I wasn't leaning into support around me to be better and to improve on myself? And I want to be the best version of me. I want to be able to help more people. And I really feel like the only way that's going to happen is if I help myself first. And so in this season of the journey, I have allowed my vulnerability to lead and guide me to people that support me. And I feel really blessed with the people that are around me right now. I feel like they hold my space. I feel like they call me out on my shit when I need to be, and I feel like it's making me a better version of me that's going to allow me to help more people because I am being vulnerable and doing the work myself. And I think sometimes when we're in a role where we serve, we forget. We forget about ourselves. I don't even know if oftentimes we mean to. Like, I'll be curious to see what our listeners think about this episode. And, are you consciously ignoring the fact that you need support? Or is it something you need support and you don't know where to turn? And what are you going to do now that you've listened to this episode? Because you can't avoid the fact that it's been brought to your attention that you might need to be doing things differently. And for me, it really came to my attention as I returned into the beauty industry and started seeing old clients again and started serving in that way. It's like I just became aware that I need the support. And it's interesting, friends. I was in a salon a few months ago where the owner had just completely checked out of running her business. Okay. Like there was no support there. There was no guidance there. There was no teamwork there. I felt very unsupported and frustrated. And I was blessed enough to have a friend reach out to me. And she said that one of her friends was looking for someone to join her salon. And so I started in this salon just about 2 weeks ago. And I am shocked. I am shocked at the difference in what it feels like to be in an environment of support and encouragement versus one where there wasn't any support and encouragement. And it does something for the team that's working to provide the services when you feel like you're working together to accomplish a goal. And so I want our listeners to think about the environment that you're in. Where are you currently? And this might be something good to journal about. Where are you currently in your life? Are you in an environment where you feel seen and supported and heard? And I don't just mean in your professional life, I mean in your home life too. Take a closer look at it and ask yourself, am I being supported in this environment that I'm in? And if you're not, what do you need to do to bring that support in? Right? What is it that needs to change for you to feel seen and heard and supported? I think this is something that all of us, regardless of what we do in life, what our calling is, I think all of us need some kind of support. We need some kind of safe space to process those things that we might otherwise ignore. And so if you don't have that, my question to you is, what are you going to do about it?
It's a powerful question. And, there's so much that you said there that resonates. And I guess the first thing, when you reached out for help at a deeper level, kind of between the two of us, I was so proud of you. That's such a sign of strength. I was just like, wow, that's really, really cool. I kind of going to disagree with you a little bit. I mean, I feel like people could listen to this episode and say, oh yeah, okay, I'm okay, I'm open and whatever that feels. But I feel like it requires a deeper and honest conversation with yourself. It's just because sometimes it creeps up on you. And I know it's creeped up on me in the past. Where it's like, I'm there for everybody else and, kind of, and it's sometimes it's an ego thing, but there's an unspoken exhaustion that comes from always being there for everybody else, always understanding. Because the other thing I've trained myself not to do is to carry other people's emotions. And again, if you listen to this, my question to you is, again, do you carry other people? Do you carry their emotions? Do you allow them to drain you of your energy? Because this is the thing, this is the difficulty of holding space, is we're not meant to take on everyone else's energy. But when you're empathic, when your heart's open, or when you naturally take on other people's emotions, and it drains you. But you limit yourself in how many people you can help when you do that. So this episode is really asking you to be honest with yourself and challenge yourself in terms of putting you first. Because again, I was talking to the client just before this call, and we were talking about knowing the difference, the mornings that he does self-care and the mornings he doesn't. And it's like, when you're so busy, actually doing some self-care makes you more productive. It allows you to be there for more people. And it's kind of paradoxical, right? Because you're using some time when you haven't got much time, but actually allows you to be more productive. It allows you to be more present. So being honest with yourself is always important. But for this, are you being a martyr? Are you being somebody that's always there for everybody else? always there, the person that anyone can call to any time. You'll jump. But do you allow other people to be the same for you? I remember Sidra asked me this question once, which really kind of blew my mind. And she said, how many people in your world are you in the top 3 of? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, just, if you, because I have a big family, and, 4 brothers, 4 sisters, 10 nephews, 3 nieces. And I was like, she's like, look, you mean a lot to a lot of people, but how many people would you say are you in the top 3? And I'm not, we have a lot of impact on a lot of people, but it's interesting when you really think about who you can rely on. If you think about how many people can rely on you, but how many people can you truly rely on? And then the question goes deeper. Have you allowed other people to be there for you? Because maybe other people want to be there for you, but you don't allow them to be there for you. And something that Stacey mentioned kind of touched the nerve too is the people that we work with are expand us and teach us in so many ways too. I mean, it's beautiful, the co-creation when you create a healing space. I 100% would admit to my clients and people I work with, that they help me so much. It's doing this solo event on Glastonbury. I'm talking about kind of, Stacey's in the US, so she's in a different country, and it's just like, so I had 3 clients reach out who've done phase 1 and phase 2 and said, look, if you need any help and support at the event, let us know. And I'm like, isn't that cool? And they're pushing me and encouraging me, and it's like, it's just, everything's a co-creation. Just because, I have a soul contract with somebody I'm meant to guide and mentor, doesn't mean they can't be there for me. So again, I encourage you to look around at the people in your world and ask, if are you letting people be there for you? And if you let people be there for you, who would that be? And consider, how does this pattern show up in relationships, in your family, in your work, in your community? How does it translate? For me, I in all areas, right? In my family, I'm working and kind of to allow other people to be there for me. Even when we go out for dinner with my nephews and nieces and letting them pay, I only let them do it occasionally, but it's just, why not let them support me? I'm consciously, I've made a realization last year that I'm there for, in all ways, but most of it is online. And I'm like, well, hold on, I love to meet people. I love to give people a hug. I feel like it's so loving. And I'm like, but most of what I do is online. So I'm like, wait, how am I going to change that? So this is why the meditation circle, creating a community, local community that I support, but also supports me. Doing this event, I feel like I needed to do something different. The phase we were in is, I feel like it was all about isolation. So it's also letting the new energies support you in a different sort of way. And releasing the identity. We create this identity, especially spiritually, of being the one that can handle everything. Because this is what we manifest. It's like if we're there always being the one that everybody can rely on, then that's what people rely on. But honestly, try it. Calling out a friend and asking for help. And by the way, if you call a friend and ask for help and, you don't get it, then call another friend. But you've also got to open your heart up and ask, are you really allowing people to be there? And honestly, if you can't think of people that would go out their way for you, then you've got to manifest new people. That's the other thing I talked about earlier, is I feel like we're in that phase where we've got to manifest a new soul family if it's needed. And maybe you already have. We were having that conversation yesterday. It's just some people have already manifested a new soul family, and some people are in the middle of it, and some people are beginning. Whatever it is, it's perfect. But this is all about you prioritizing you. Because like I said earlier, this spiritual journey, it's so interesting sometimes about how, because we've been through something, we want to be there for everybody else because nobody's there for us. But really the question is, the realization is, everything that you have in your world right now, everything in your external is something you asked for, something you manifested. So if you don't have anybody in your world, that allows you, that supports you in a different sort of way, then that's what you've manifested. But the power of that is you can manifest something different. You have the power to, because you've manifested your world already. And I'm not, this is what I said earlier, this is not a time for big manifestations about your future, but it is a time to manifest new relationships, new people to hold, new communities that hold your space differently. And, that's what me and Stacey are doing a lot of right now, is creating supportive communities. Like, I started a membership in December. It really was about, right now it's relatively small, but it's a really powerful, loving community. And it's like everybody shares in that community. It's so beautiful. The full moon webinar we have on Sunday, I feel it's such a loving community. So look for those communities, but also look at your relationships, look at your close relationships, and manifest. Because I know this spiritual journey is lonely, especially when you have people around you that understood the old version of you. You've shifted. You become much more understanding, much more aware, and it's not a bad thing. It's like sometimes we're different, and what we need is different, and we do change. What we need with the people around us changes. And then we go to a space of them manifesting new relationships. So, Stacey, as we start closing out this episode, what advice would you have? I know we've already talked about journal prompts, etc. But anything you want to share that's it, to guide people on this really manifesting new beginnings?
I would encourage you to take some time to think about who's surrounding you and take a good, long, hard look at who is there for you and who is supporting you. And if you don't feel like you have those people around you, I would encourage you to start doing some manifesting. I have a client right now who just desperately wants more of a social life. She wants more of a social circle. And we talked yesterday about the power of manifestation. If you don't have those people around you, take some time to journal about what those people would look like and feel like to be around. Talk about it in the present tense as if it already exists, and connect with the energy of what it would feel like to be supported by the people who are surrounding you. What do these people do for you? How are they supporting you? How are they showing up for you? Take some time to really write in detail about what you need, and let's work on drawing that energy to you. I really feel like there's support for all of us if we're willing to humble ourselves enough to look for it. But I think oftentimes we get in our own way, thinking that we have to do this all by ourselves. And so my encouragement to you is a reminder that you don't have to do this all by yourself, and that it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. It's actually a sign of strength when you can be vulnerable enough to say, this is something I can't do on my own and I need support. I really believe the universe will rise to meet you.
I love that, and I couldn't agree more. It is a sign of strength. Why do we sometimes think it's a sign of weakness? For me, that's just crazy. But trust me, I've been there. I've been there where I wanted to be there for everybody else, and I don't always allow people to be there for me. And it's definitely a work in progress, but something I've been aware of for a couple of years, and again, like I was saying earlier, it's easy for you to listen to this episode and say, "Well, that was interesting," but don't kid yourself. Be honest with yourself. Do you allow other people to be there for you? Can you be vulnerable around other people? What it looks to ask yourself, what does it look like to ask for help? And again, I some of the things we haven't majored on in this episode is asking for your help from your guides, from the other realms. Just taking a moment to close your eyes and just feel energies and vibrations, and then say, you know what, today I want you to show up and show up for me. Today, bring new souls into my life that are going to lift my vibration. They're going to support me differently. And the question is, if you're asking for that sort of thing, are you open? Are you really open to new people coming into your world to support you differently? Because just saying these things, but actually not truly believing in them, you manifest your reality. So if you, let's say you ask for that sort of thing, you know what, universe, my guides, I really want to invite in people that support me differently. Do you really believe that? Because intention's so powerful. If you put that intention out there, but in your mind you're like, it's never going to happen, then you're manifesting that too. You have the power to manifest everything. So trust, this is a shifting time. And let's say you may say to yourself, I've tried that before, it didn't work. Yeah, but it's a different energy, different vibration. We were in a phase where isolation was important because we had to go through all these shifts, and we had to sometimes do it in isolation. But what if this energy is different? You are a powerful being. And we don't say these things, everything, a lot of what we say on these episodes are channeled. And it's weird. When Stacey was talking, I started getting a cough, and I've not even got a cough. And I was like, isn't that interesting? And I was tapping into it. Is it my energy or not? I feel like there's some people listening who struggle to speak their truth, who struggle to speak with love, who struggle to ask for help. And I encourage you, I implore you to really do that. Strength doesn't disappear when you ask for help. Strength doesn't disappear when you let yourself rest. This is all about you asking for what you need. And I'd love to know, this is maybe actually every episode is different, but it kind of feels different in a way that let me just say it feels important. So I'd love to hear from people. If this episode resonated, then what are you going to do to ask for help? What are you going to do to reach out and really kind of allow other people to be there for you? I love those messages of that what you're going to do differently and how you're going to ask for support. And the other thing, like I said at the beginning, maybe we're here to support you. Maybe it's time for you to get a mentor and reach out to us. Maybe it's time for you to book an Akasha reading. Join us on Sunday for the full moon webinar. It's free. It's not going to cost you. It's 90 minutes of healing. You get a different energy vibration from me and Stacey. This is a time for you to be in loving communities, allowing people to support you differently. And, of course, continuing to support other people in the beautiful, unique way you do. So, Stacey, thank you for everything you do for me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your vulnerability and kind of your strength and courage for everything you do. You inspire me. You inspired this episode. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that's listening. I'm sending you all so much love and light. Stacey, I'm going to hand over to you to close us out.
Another really powerful episode, and our deepest desire is to touch your heart and maybe get you to think about things a little bit differently than you have before. We're here for you. We're absolutely willing to support you on your journey. All you have to do is reach out. Thank you again for another powerful episode. Nims, I appreciate you, and I'm so thankful that we get to do this together. I hope everybody has a great day today. Thanks again.
Thank you, Stacey. Love and light to everybody. Bye for now.